All right, everybody, welcome back to another deep dive.
Yeah.
Today we're getting into some really, really dark stuff.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking Ted Bundy.
The one and only.
One of America's most infamous serial killers.
For sure.
And so before we jump in, I just got to say, this is a really tough topic.
Definitely.
But I think it's important to understand these figures like Bundy.
Yeah.
So that we can try to learn about their psychology.
Absolutely.
The complexities of human behavior.
And hopefully prevent.
And hopefully prevent something like this from happening again.
Absolutely.
So to do this deep dive, we're looking at Starplay Studios Docuseries.
Yeah. Season 2, Episode 4.
Season 2, Episode 4.
Really gets into it.
They do a great job of, piecing together this story.
They do a great job with all their docuseries.
For sure. So I think the big question we have to ask today is, how could someone seemingly so normal commit such horrific acts?
Yeah, it's one of the biggest questions about Ted Bundy.
And, the docuseries really highlights this, right? He was described as intelligent,
right,
ambitious, charismatic.
Yeah, handsome, charming, you name it.
He seemingly had a promising future.
I mean, if you just looked at him on the street, you would never.
You would never suspect.
Never suspect.
But then you contrast that with his true nature, and it's just this stark difference.
Exactly.
A brutal predator.
Totally.
Who confessed to murdering at least 30 women.
At least 30 that we know of.
Yeah, between 1974 and 1978.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in, for sure.
And they believe the true number is probably much higher.
Oh, yeah. That's one of the scariest things about it, right?
It is. So how did he do it?
Yeah.
What was his modus operandi?
Well, he often feigned injury or, would say he needed help.
Yeah.
To lure young women into vulnerable situations.
So he was really playing on people's good nature.
Exploiting it, really.
And his crimes spanned multiple states.
Yeah.
Right.
This is a big one.
It made it difficult for law enforcement to initially connect these killings?
Right, because they didn't realize they were dealing with one person.
Yeah, they thought they were isolated incidents.
Makes it a lot harder to catch someone.
So you said there's more than 30 that we know of?
Yeah.
But it could be much higher.
Right, because of how difficult it was to connect everything.
And then he escapes from custody.
Not once, but twice.
Not once, but twice he escapes.
Talk about audacity. I mean, first he jumps out of a courthouse window.
Wow.
And then he digs a hole in his jail cell ceiling.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, how do you even do that?
I don't even know.
But these escapes speak to his manipulative nature, right?
Right.
He had this incredible ability to deceive those around him.
Totally.
And I think it really plays into that contrast we were talking about earlier.
It's like he was living a double life.
Exactly.
He was able to present himself as one thing.
Yeah, totally normal.
And then underneath, he was this totally different person.
And it's scary to think how many people like that are out there.
And, his time on the run wasn't exactly quiet. He went on a killing spree in Florida.
Yeah, and that spree culminated in the brutal attack at the Chi Omega sorority house.
Chilling.
Yeah, that attack was a huge deal.
It really was.
It had such a massive impact on the public.
I remember learning about that in school.
Everyone was terrified.
Yeah, the level of fear surrounding Bundy just skyrocketed after that.
Rightfully so.
And then there was the media frenzy around his trial.
Oh, man. It was a spectacle.
It was like a circus almost.
It really was.
And Bundy loved it. He was front and center manipulating the narrative.
Yeah, he even acted as his own lawyer.
That's wild.
Just like he was putting on a performance.
He was playing to the crowd.
Yeah, and it just shows how easily charisma can be used to manipulate people.
Even in the face of overwhelming evidence.
It's a reminder that we can't always trust our first impressions.
This whole story, it's fascinating and it's horrifying all at the same time.
It really is.
It's a reminder that appearances can be incredibly deceiving.
Absolutely, and it makes you wonder, how can we as a society better identify and address the warning signs of individuals like Bundy?
That's a great question.
We need to be able to see past the charm and the charisma.
And really look at people's actions.
Because actions speak louder than words.
For sure. And, if you're interested in learning more about this case,
absolutely,
I highly recommend checking out Starplay Studios Docuseries.
Yeah, they do a fantastic job.
Season 2, Episode 4 is the one that covers Ted Bundy.
And they have a ton of other great content, too.
Absolutely. And while you're at it, give them a follow on social media.
All their platforms.
You won't regret it.
Yeah, they're doing great work over there.
All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in.
See you next time.